Welcome to Forever Exiled. I'm Justin, aka Tags.
And I'm Tyler, Wrecker of Days. Nice to see you all.
Hey, buddy. Episode 249 of Forever Exiled. And you know what, Ty? It's just the two of us. It's been a while.
It's been a while. It has been, actually.
Yeah, it's been a bit. And we get to do it for 249. Big shout out to our patrons. Thanks, everybody who supports the podcast. We love your faces. Thank you to... I don't want to mess it up, but Sigurjon. Thank you for signing up for Patreon and everybody else who resubbed up. We love your faces. Patreon gets you access to After Dark. It is our other podcast after this podcast where, you know, more us.
We just make sweet, sweet verbal platonic love.
Yeah, it's a lot of virtual high fives, but thank you everybody who supports the podcast. We love it. And
ass slapping.
Yeah. How's your week? We haven't caught up in forever.
No, man. Good. Well, I was going to say one thing when you were mentioning our newest patron. Thank you very much for signing up. And for those that resubbed, of course, just like Justin said. But that's one thing that I love about an international audience is just, I don't know, it's going to sound stupid, but how international it is. Like there's just so much. Like cool. I have no idea how to pronounce certain people's names. And maybe that just means John.
You know, it's funny. Language, right? John was the name that was in my head about, like, for us, the simpleness of John. Sure. You know, it's Sam. Yeah. It's just easy. I'll bet you that is just like, you know, it's probably a normal, easy name. Sure. Yeah. I just need the accent. I like that. I need the accent.
It's fun. And like you're asking about my week, but like we had a normal week and I mean, a lot of really cool stuff, but you know, you get so caught up in the day to day. It's just, you know, some little details like that remind you how big and wonderful the world is. I had a good week, man. Thanks for asking. I got the kids into swimming lessons this week, which is impossible to do.
I heard it's hard
in our area. Ever since COVID, for some reason, swimming lessons are all of a sudden popular.
Instructors, yeah. Well, they're low on instructors too.
Well, yeah. Otherwise, they would have a lot more lessons available. But it's very, I don't know, like my kids, to me, it'd be cool if my kids want to get into music, but I'm not going to force it. It'd be cool if my kids want to get into sports, but I'm not going to force it. It'd be cool if my kids did whatever, but I'm not going to force it. I am forcing they have to know how to swim. I don't care if they hate it. I don't care if they're allergic to water.
Yeah, I'm with you.
They have to learn how to swim. It's a mandatory thing. I'm sure I've said it 100 times.
It's a life or death skill.
It is. It's not a thing of convenience. It's a thing of continuing to breathe.
That's correct. Yeah.
I'm getting the capping thing again. It's cutting me off.
I'm not worried about it. Let's just keep going. Tyler's got a new computer, so we're recording audio for the first time on said computer. So Justin did some settings. I actually did some stuff to his Audacity to make it better for me. So I'm not worried about it. Ty, you just do you. And if I have to cut you out of the episode, it'll be just me talking.
All right, fine.
Anyway, so you're doing swimming.
Anyway, so yeah, no, but they were in swimming, but they couldn't swim. We take them swimming whenever we could, but it's impossible to get them into swimming lessons. So I've just been taking them to the rec center whenever I have the ability and the energy. And again, with all of my medical issues, I have to plan ahead for that. And that's a big, I guess, debilitating part for the day. If I take the kids swimming to the rec center, awesome. We have a good time. I can't do anything the rest of the day. I can't do laundry. I can't vacuum. We're having the simplest of dinners, like just a throw in the oven dinner kind of thing.
I think it's the chlorine. Like even for myself, being in the rec centers and the smell of chlorine while you're sitting there, I find it messes with my head. And if you're worried about your audio, the only thing you need to care about is that little light in the bottom corner. If you're hitting red on that thing, then you're going to turn down a little bit.
Red. Oh, yeah, there's red. Okay. So I'll stare at it. I haven't needed to stare at it in a long time.
It's just a little adjustments, but you'll get it. I think you sound fine. But anyway, that's cool. I'm glad that you guys are doing that.
Yeah, but we went to where my in-laws live for a week.
Yep.
For a week, Justin.
A week. Good for you.
Oh, for a week. And they have a pool there. And so that was one really nice thing. My daughter wanted to go swimming every single moment in the pool. Now they can't swim at all. They hate getting their faces wet, kind of swim. Like but they wanted to go in the water. They wanted to swim. So I'm like, great, awesome. But then I'm like as a parent, I'm like, okay, I still want this to be fun, but we can never get into swimming lessons. And you're going to learn how to swim. So I'm going to like throw stuff in there that actually teaches them how to swim instead of them just playing in the water, which of course also helps. So anyway, in that whole week, all of a sudden they went from like something clicked in both of them where they were really excited to get better as opposed to nervous about getting better. They were really excited to get better and they became like swimming pros. within like that first week, we were in the pool for tons and tons of time. It was great. But then just before we left, I was able to squeeze the kids into the same class of swimming lessons at one of the rec centers.
Cool.
Yeah. And so I was able to do that just before we left. And I signed them up for like the most beginner basic one because they were terrified of getting their faces wet. And then we go, and then within that week, they go from not wanting to get their faces wet to them having goggles on and like swimming down and like underwater to pick up whatever it is that I threw down there for them to get. And they got way better. So it was funny. Now I have them signed up for this beginner class, and
nice.
So anyway, we just finished that, but we had a great time, and it's been a fun week. Went to, of course, where the grandparents live, and then coming back, and my wife's starting her new shift. And so it's all just been lots of changes, but summer's begun, and it's been like high 30-degree weather for the last week and a half. And so just been crazy.
Did she make sure that her games still work on the new computer?
Oh, yes.
Okay, good.
Yes, she did. That was extremely important.
Yeah.
Spent an entire evening double checking the frustrations of Electronic Arts and Sims 3 and Sims 4 and where those save files are supposed to go and where we change the document folder to be. And
right. But it's all good.
Does it automatically read it? Yeah, it was a frustrating experience, but she got it done.
Yep. The beauty of a new computer.
It is. How are you doing? Last time I asked, you were disappointed because you got some really bad news from the doctor.
Yeah, we didn't. We talked about that in After Dark.
We did, but now it's been like a week or two. I forget which After Dark that was. So how have you been since?
Good. So I went to, for everybody else who's not a patron, you know,
losers.
We did go up to Kamloops, met with a neurosurgeon up there that I had paid to go and see, and I was not happy with it. It was a bit frustrating. So I'm not following any of his directions or advice. I'm actually going to be meeting with another neurosurgeon hopefully coming up. But yeah, just moving forward. What you doing there, bud?
Yeah, right? I am listening. I'm so used to having the focus right.
Yeah.
In a spot that I can ignore because the settings were good and the flashing lights, of course, flashing lights. But now I'm like, instead of looking at you, it's going to be an audio only recording for me. I'm going to be staring at the focus right, making sure the red doesn't show up.
Yeah.
Anyway, keep going.
Anyway, so
you were talking about jumping off a bridge.
The back's been, I'm keeping up with the stuff. I'm trying to tone down a little bit on the pain side of the drugs and just stick with the nerve blocking one. So just to get me through to at least, I got to get to the end of July. I think that's when I'm hopefully going to start bugging this other neurosurgeon who's the original one I wanted to see, but with our medical system, you got to wait in line, and I can't pay this guy money to skip it. I tried, but
okay,
no, it's fine. And my our weeks, it's been good, man. My kids they spend a lot of the summer at my parents-in-law's place, which is at like a big park, and they've got a trailer, and there's lots of other kids. They've made friends there, so they spend a ton of time there. That's where they've all learned to swim, was just going there and swimming. Like all of my kids pretty much picked up swimming by going there. So it's like my summer version of boarding school. It's awesome. I get so much work done, and they just play. I mean, the alternative would be they just be sitting here, maybe playing outside or whatever, but they're outside all the time. They're on their bikes, they're riding around with their friends, they're playing at the pool. They've got like a clubhouse they go to, karaoke, all this stuff. So yeah.
Wow. They're going to come back to your house and they're going to be like, what the heck is this?
Yeah. Well, my girls always want to come back. My 14-year-old would stay out there all summer if he could. But yeah, no, it's been good. Work's been really busy, which I like. And I'm trying to think what else. Yeah, it's just been work and hanging out. Christina and I going out quite a bit because there's no kids. So go out for meals and go shopping and stuff. So yeah, no, it's been a good week. It's good. Yeah,
I'm glad, because it can be quite discouraging coming back when you have so much hope for something.
I had a rough week.
Pain is one thing, but knowing there's a lifetime of excruciating pain ahead where you really don't see any options, and then having that hope, like hope is hope, and it's a natural thing that you have. You don't really choose hope, but it's dangerous, right? Because once you have hope instilled in your heart for something that is so important in your life, not about something like you're excited about. Like I had my hope dashed with Dragon's Dogma 2. Okay, well that sucks, but life goes on. That's not important to me. But when you have something like this, where it's about something so vital in your life, to have that hope that they're like, to not even have the consideration that the appointment would be a failure, like it would be just a positive option for you. Maybe I'm not going to pick it, but for it to be an outright failure it can do a lot to life and perspective and even motivation with your day-to-day life going forward. A lot of people don't take it.
It was a bit frustrating
as well as you did. So good for you.
I mean, it was a little annoying for him to say straight up that, the fusion, which is what I want of the discs, would be the long-term fix, but that, he didn't think I should do it. And instead I should do these options that would cost me so much money every 3 to 6 months, having to go up to Kamloops and doing this procedure where they fry the nerve for the rest of my life. And I was like, yeah. So it was a tough week, but I met with my chiropractor, who I respect a ton. He works with professional athletes and I really like him, and he helped. He basically just raged about what this doctor said. He was so angry, and gave me some instructions, and we're just going to work towards the next one. So it's good. It's gotten better. Once I finally realized that I was not going to use this guy and continue with them, it became easier for me to just accept it. So my wife had a bit of a hard time with it, because he sent a report. The doctor sent a report, like his write-up and everything, and I should have probably not forwarded to Christina. I'm not sure, but she did not like it, because it seems like a sales pitch. Like, yeah, things are bad, but you just come here and pay this money each time and you'll be fine. And I was like, okay. In 4 years, I would have paid what it would cost me to go to Germany. So that, which may end up being the case. I may end up having to just suck it up and look into Chile or Germany or something for getting the surgery done, but we'll see how it goes. At some point, I am going to get it. I'm not going to go like this forever. So, but I've moved on.
Yeah.
Life's too
how's
busy,
your lawn?
My lawn actually looks pretty good. However, we found these bugs outside, and Christina took a picture, and she said to me, she's like, "What is this?" So I sent it to my guy, and
of course,
they are the bugs that will lay the eggs for grubs. And I was like,
you just got over that.
You
finally have a green lawn for the first time in like 2.5 years.
Yep. And
partly thanks to grubs.
He said he wasn't too worried about it. He said, just keep cutting the lawn long. Like, I've moved over to keeping it a longer lawn instead of going for the short look.
Yeah, my man.
And
did you see that? I had to fix my thumbs up. Did you see how crooked it was?
Bad. Yeah,
that's natural. Thumbs up is all weird and too straight.
No, it's just straight up.
Whatever. Go ahead.
It's looking good though, but these bugs, thankfully, they were being eaten by ants. And I said, well, you treated my lawn. Are we good? And he's like, well, there is a chance. I'm like, then get over here and kill these things. But otherwise it's good. How's the lawn life?
It's fine. It's been too hot to lay seed.
Yeah, way too hot.
So that hasn't been an option.
Are you going to overseed?
Yep. I have bags to use up. I think this will be my last year actually doing overseeding and dealing with.
You're going to wait till fall now though. Right.
Yeah, unless it's nice weather in the summer, like unless it cools down a little bit and it stays under 20. No, it definitely doesn't. But if it gets to under 24 degrees for a good week, I'll do that, and I'll do I want to get rid of the seed.
I don't like crazy if you're going to do it in that temperature. I know.
So, but the thing is I have too much seed for just a fall overseed, and I kind of want to be done and over with the overseeding part of it and just let the lawn naturally take over. Like, I'll still weed, but then I want the lawn to grow into itself, type of thing. Mm-hmm. That's what I'm going to do going forward.
That's what I did with the front. The front was just the one set of overseeding, and then it was still patchy. And I was like, and he's like, just keep mowing it. It's going to grow in. And it did. It filled in really nicely.
Mm-hmm. Mine's not growing in at all, which is really frustrating. I don't know if it's the soil or what, but it could also be the dirt that I buy. That maybe it's not completely weed free. Maybe I got so distracted by all the other details of the different dirts I was trying out that I forgot to focus on if it was weed free or not. Because there's a lot more weeds than there should have been, but it's been a really hot year this year, and I'm noticing that the weeds are different. They're completely different weeds that I'm used to weeding.
Do you treat your weeds, or what do you do? Like, we do a weed treatment.
No, I just use my hands or like a tool, but it's by hand.
It's a lot of work.
It's not bad, but I also like learning about it. and checking it out. And I just have a thing in my phone every day. I just do 50 weeds, and I definitely don't do it every day. It ends up being like 2 or 3 times a week. Yeah, but it's 20 minutes. It's not even much. And then I got rid of all the really annoying carpet layering that people put under their gardens. The previous owners had that, and every now and then I'm finding more and more, but I can't stand it. There is more weeding to be done in the garden, but it's...
That carpet stuff is typically put in to stop or to decrease the weeds.
Yeah, but it promotes some of the most horrendous weeds. The ones that love shade, they are growing like mad underneath. And if you're wondering why some of your perennials aren't growing really well, the ones that need the really deep roots, it's 100% because there's this massive,
especially if you put it
garden
in,
underneath.
For sure.
Yeah,
because they would have done it at the time, so it would have been fine. But if you're trying to add something now, that would be really tough.
Sure, and that's what gardening is. It's all about changing your mind 100,000 times. And so I like getting my fingernails dirty. So it's just one of those things where it's yeah, there's weeds, but the more I learn about it, the more I'm capable of naturally getting rid of them as well. So the longer I do it, the less work it is. So
you sound like
it becomes easier to ignore
you're not
stuff.
sick anymore.
Yeah, it only took 6 months, to get over this cough.
You got about, what, 2 weeks so you get the next one?
You know what, though? It's funny. I had this cough that I couldn't control for a couple of weeks, and my mother and father-in-law came over, and I'm like, come, like, you're welcome to come. I think the contagious stage is done, but come at your own risk. Of course, they came, and I guess whatever it was that we had,
did they get
we
sick?
were visiting them. They were coming out for a special occasion. One of our nieces was graduating high school, so they came out for the 3 or 4 nights for that. But it was just by coincidence that we'd already scheduled to be at their place for a week that coming Friday. So like 3 days later, we were going to be staying in their place for a week. Well, I was just finishing coughing like crazy. Like the second they left after my niece's graduation, they went back to their place. My coughing basically stopped. I was fine. And then we get there, and it was coughing nonstop. Both Aaron and I coughing nonstop, like uncontrollable. Even my mother-in-law coughing nonstop. The second we get back here, totally fine again. So I think I'm allergic to my in-laws.
That's interesting. But they were sick too. They were coughing too.
Yeah, they were. So they're allergic to me. I'm allergic to them. I don't know. I just think it works out great.
That's crazy.
No, I'm just joking. But yeah, thanks for noticing. I am doing great. And speaking of lawns, though, lawns are a theme. If you're a new listener, Justin and I love our lawns. And so spring and fall is when you get much more lawn talk than you do in the summer or winter. But our 250th episode, Justin, came out of nowhere.
Yeah,
and is next week. Yeah. And what special things do we have planned for next week?
Man, they are going to be off the chain crazy. It's going to be like this.
Yeah, just we have absolutely nothing planned because summer came at us like crazy and this and that and another thing. And all of a sudden we're at 250.
No, what are you doing for this? You should try this. You should do this. And I'm like, I can't even think about it. It's cool. It's really cool. That's like, you know, we're a quarter of the way to 1,000, 250 episodes. It's pretty nuts. But it will probably be just virtual high fives.
Yeah, we're not doing anything. It'd be rad to
make
actually
times out really well with the league announcement. So you're welcome. Our 250th episode will be the league announcement. We just timed it.
Yeah, there was another thing that we timed really well as well in the past. I forget if it was 100, 222, 150. That was also really well timed. Oh, I think it had to do with one of the Exile cons.
Probably. They tend to plan around us. So
obviously. Yeah, they do. Yeah. Obviously. Why wouldn't they?
It is cool to be at 250, but we don't have anything planned. So unless something happens magically this week, which I'm not expecting, we'll just be celebrating 250 with the league announcement next week.
And if life is all cool, we'll have BK on the week after that. And that should be for league launch.
Right.
And it'll be exciting to have BK on again once every 10 episodes. It's a pleasure.
Right. Yeah, it'll be fun. And then we'll have more league stuff too to talk about. So that'll be good. What do we got this week in PoE? We haven't talked about like this week in PoE type stuff in forever. And I feel like there was a lot, right? Has there been a lot that's happened? I haven't paid much attention.
Yes and like no. There was actually a patch that wasn't about preparing for... There was a patch on both console and PC.
And wasn't fixing Necropolis though.
No, it had nothing to do with the league content,
Okay.
but it had to do with the core game and some really cool graphic features and options that people will have the opportunity to now slide around or toggle. Hey, have you seen the Carol Burnett sketch where they're playing the game Sorry?
You asked me about Carol Burnett when we were building the computer too. You got that on the brain. Hey, I don't remember what it was.
No, it's not. It's permanently on the brain. It's like saying "welp," or anytime you hear "welp" or "see you later," you automatically think Dumb and Dumber. Right. It's not like I'm thinking about it. Well, anytime somebody says the word slide, slider bar, slide, going down a slide, slide. For the 3 people listening that have Carol Burnett in their history, in their family history, you'll know what I'm talking about. That's so funny because you brought that up just last week when we were building your computer. I need to make a note.
Tyler was very involved with building his computer. He wanted to learn. It was fun. Did you learn anything? Did you have fun building it? What are you doing?
Can't hear you. I'm trying to find a pen.
Why?
Because I have to share the Carol Burnett thing.
You're on a computer. Just type it.
No.
Weirdo. Okay. Well, that's cool. I just looked at the patch notes. That's interesting. But they had like a bunch of like little teasers this week, didn't they?
Justin's my guy, for those wondering. Because I don't know computer stuff. Justin's my guy. He's the guy. He says, hey, you should buy these parts. If I'm looking to buy, he's like, you should buy these parts. But yeah, and Justin took the time and he was very patient to explain how all the pieces work together and which pieces are compatible and not, why we ordered this, why we're putting it there, what it is for, like, you know, what was it, the positive, positive charge within the computer, proper airflow, dust
and stuff,
all that kind of stuff. So it was cool. It was very informative, and I remember nothing, but it was no, I actually do remember a lot of it, but it was really cool. And thank you for taking the time to do it.
Yeah,
and
no problem.
So patch notes.
I saw the patch notes.
There were a couple things that actually kind of excited me. Console specific ones. Xbox Series X and S owners will now play through a native Xbox Series X or S app. So I think now they technically have an Xbox Series X Path of Exile and an Xbox Series S Path of Exile, and it will download automatically. So when you go to the, that's what I think that means, because I don't see app meaning anything else in Path of Exile land. I can't think of any other app they would have. So now I just think, like, when you go to the Xbox store, it's not going to ask you which one you want to download. It's just going to say, this is Path of Exile. Do you want to download it? You say yes. And then the store automatically knows which console you have. So the existing app will automatically update to the native version when downloading this patch. So that was neat. And then I think the reason that they're doing that,
fixed, though, like, is it playing any better?
The visual stuff? Yeah. Well, no, but I haven't loaded it on since they did this patch. Okay. This patch was done.
So maybe it helped.
Well, I guess it was a week ago, but still, this patch hasn't. I haven't played with it since, but I think the reason they're doing this is because some of the graphical options that you can toggle or slide around are not going to be available on the S version. They wanted to apply them to as many versions of their game as possible, but the S version
can't often get many sliders in console games when it comes to settings, when it comes to graphical settings. So
what did they do? They did added a new refresh setting rate if you have, so it can support 120 hertz. Added a new option for shadows and global illumination as a lighting graphics setting. When I read that the first 100 times, it said lightning graphics, and I was like, yes, yes, yes. But I don't know. I'll still play with it and see if that actually helps with all the crazy skills that the enemies have. And then there's also a new render resolution graphics setting that's not available on the S.
Yeah,
and then a whole bunch of bug fixes, which were core game influenced, not specific to the
and all of their little teasers that they had, they were all core game. They're actually, are we going through each one? Because they're some of them are pretty cool.
Well, some of them, yeah. There was a PC patch as well, and they added other graphic things as well, like different versions of VSync and the graphics rendering and all that kind of thing too. So it was good. And then they came up with a hotfix for it as well. But yeah, the I guess before that though, do you want to talk about the League reveal?
July 18th or something? It's next week.
Something like that. Yeah, July 18th, 1 p.m. our time, which is PDT. You know, it was funny. I just recently learned, with all the different interviews that we've done from all different time zones, there's a difference between PDT and PST. Like, it's the same time zone, but it's just depending on if it's springtime or fall time. based on if we've turned the clock ahead or back. Yeah. So it's always the same time zone, but it's referencing which time zone we're in because we change our clocks. We spring ahead or fall back, right?
Interesting.
So I didn't know. So anyway, it's
knowledge time.
Just the fountain of knowledge. That's me. If you want to know pointless things,
useless,
I'm your guy. Like gotcha. Justin's my guy for building a computer. Justin's got a guy for his lawn. Well, I'm your guy.
Tyler, here's a random fact. That's right.
That's right.
We'll have to add a "Did you know" section to the podcast.
If you could add like the reading rainbow or like
the more you know.
That's right. That's right. The more you know.
Yeah. So July 18th is their thing where they're doing their live thing. Are they going to do? So they're doing the question and answer thing again. So I'm going to just assume that the whole first part's going to be PoE 2 again.
Well, we both hope not.
Yeah, it will be.
I'm with you. I like having Path of Exile 2 news as Path of Exile 2, and I like having Path of Exile 1 news as Path of Exile 1. I'll look into either or when I'm interested. If I'm interested in both, great. I'm fine clicking on 2 separate videos or instances, but that's not how they do it.
Yeah, it'll be fun to see it though. I'm excited to see what this league's all about. They've had their little teaser for it was great, the little video for it. So I'm excited to, I think we talked about it last week with Try because it was out, but yeah, I'm excited to see what it is next week.
Yeah. And then, Ziggy's doing the Q&A. And then of course, as usual, they give away free stuff, which is always cool just for checking in and watching. So make sure you have your Twitch settings on to be able to get your freebies.
1 p.m. our time. Cool.
Yeah.
Sweet.
And then, but they have come out with... And we referenced this a little bit with Try last week, but they've come up with a lot of QOL.
Eight of them
for this coming league. So
let's start at the bottom. Because we talked about, I think we talked about this actually in After Dark last week with the reservations persisting through death. Because you made a comment about the YouTube comment about how awesome this is for hardcore characters.
Oh, right. Yes, I remember. No, that was very funny from whoever said it. Now, here's the thing, like to get it out of the way. I don't know if these things are things you market. They're things you communicate. They're things, hey, just FYI, we're adding this to the game. I don't know if you want to, like, if I was in charge of the game, if I would want them to make a big deal about these QOL changes because, well, see, and I don't think there's a wrong way to go about it. It's just personal preference based on whoever's in charge. Because for me, a lot of these things, they should have been in the game.
Yeah, but they're
like
they weren't. I agree with you, but that's why I make a big deal about it.
That's like bragging that your car has 4 wheels.
Yeah, we talked about this. I can turn left or something
and right, and you can find, like, you know what I mean. There's just some things that
I don't understand what you would want. Like, okay, so they haven't been in the game. We've wanted them in the game. They're going to now be in the game. You think that they should just not make a big? I think you should make a big deal about that.
I think. How should I put this? I think it's important to let people know that they're adding it to the game, that they're thoughtful, because some people might not even realize it, right? We'll get to some changes that people probably wouldn't realize, but it's really nice to have them there. And they even in that specific video that I'm referencing that we'll get to, it even has a comparison chart. So I think it's good, but to use it as part of, and I don't think they're actually using it as part marketing material. They're just tweeting it out quick and then it's done. So I guess that's probably the way that I would do it as well. But there's just certain things, like if there's something that should have been in the game for a long time and it's finally getting added, that's not like you don't make a big commercial about it at the Super Bowl kind of thing. You know what I mean?
So here's my opinion. My opinion is it is marketing material. It's 100% to build up hype for the upcoming league. And it is quality of life that a lot of people have wanted, that regardless of whether it should have been in the game, which would have been nice to, they are finally doing it. And I think that you should make a big deal about it because you're adding something that people have wanted, you know, for a number of these things. It's like, oh, finally, even if we've been talking about for a long time wanting it, I think it's a great, they purposefully do it at this time to build up excitement for the upcoming league, because you're going to experience these changes once the new league comes out.
And I also completely agree with that perspective as well. If I was in that meeting, I'd be like, yeah, I agree with person 1. And then it's time to vote for person 2. I'm like, I agree with person 2. Okay, Tyler, you can only get 1 vote. I choose not to vote.
So yeah, the reservation one's cool.
Yeah, you die, keep your reservations on.
We talked about this last week too, and I was like, so I guess are we getting, because when they announced PoE 2 in the beginning, they were like bragging about this single button to turn on all your auras, and the whole place went crazy. And now I'm going like, is that still a thing, or like?
I'm sure it is, having a meta gem like that, because that's turning on all the linked auras. You still only 1 button for all those reservation skills.
Right. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see.
Yeah. So that, I mean, assuming, I mean, that skill's what, 6 years old now? 5 years old? The meta gem for turning on your auras for Path of Exile 2. That was a 2019 announcement.
Yeah, it was when they first announced PoE 2.
Yeah. So that's, that's already a 5-year-old idea. I'm sure it's been modified a bit. And I don't remember the video that we're referencing here for the Settlers of Kalguur quality of life reservation skills. But I assume that would work for things like heralds, right? Like your herald of agony or purity. Yeah. So, yep. Yeah. So that's really cool. That is really cool, especially for those that are using those things for minions and stuff. I like that a lot.
Well, and we die quite a bit, so it's kind of nice to not have to hit extra buttons when you die. I like that. In Settlers of Kalguur expansion, you can now start harvest encounters with just a single action. So I haven't watched any of these videos. Harvest right now, you only
it's a double click.
Oh, right, because you pick it and then you start it. I see. So now you'll just click it and it will start. Okay.
Neat.
That's cool. That's awesome.
In Path of Exile, Settlers of Kalguur, you'll no longer need to click waypoints to activate them. Wasn't that was funny enough? Like we're like a month away from LA already, and that was one of the most exciting things for us when we were playing. There was a huge radius by the waypoint, and we didn't have to.
It's like one of the first things we noticed. We're like,
right,
it activated.
Right, it's lighting up. That's great. And so all of a sudden, like one of our favorite things of PoE 2, it's added into the game. And you know what though? Yes, there's been stuff that they've talked about, like dialogue boxes all the way back from Heist that have been added that you assume are going to be a PoE 2 thing, or they're starting to add to the game and slowly bring in. But from Path of Exile 2, the first Exile Con, they started saying like, hey, listen, like there's some stuff we can't add to the core Path of Exile 1 experience, like gems and links and how that works. Like that's just a completely different part of the game. But everything else that we can add to the game, we will. And there really hasn't been much in terms of, from the user's knowledge base, lots from the Path of Exile 2 experience that we've been learning about that's been added to Path of Exile 1, probably because they keep changing their mind, which again, like that's a good thing. Yes, Justin and I keep making fun of the delayed release dates, but that's a good thing. Change your mind as much as you need to make the game that you want. So that's probably why we haven't had a lot of Path of Exile 2 influence in Path of Exile 1 yet. But I mean, we're going to get to more of these things, but now it's like, okay, all these things from PoE 2 that are now getting added into PoE 1, sure, it's just a few things, but they're big deals. And they're things that PoE 1 has wanted for a decade. It's almost like now it's like, okay, this is exciting. Yes, because it's in Path of Exile 1, but they're so sure about their decision making that now they're adding it to this game. You know what I mean? Like, so they're so sure about the choices that they've made.
If it's going to change, sure.
Right. It is in PoE 2, so we can add it to PoE 1.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like imagine if PoE 1 had this proximity waypoint thing and then it's not in PoE 2. I mean, come on. So anyway, really cool.
Yeah, I like that one.
And that'll automatically fix some other issues with that too. Like some waypoints you would...
Tyler and notifications.
I forgot to turn off my phone.
They're never heard in the recording, but it is always fun to catch you in them. Anyway, next one, we've reworked item quality. The rarity of the item is no longer relevant when applying quality currencies to non-unique items. Instead, it's based on their item level. That's cool. I mean, that's good.
Wait. Oh, I skipped one.
I'm getting a phone call, but I'm going to just...
Yeah, I really like that, actually. It's not about making something normal and then feeling like you're wasting your items. I mean, there's always going to be a point where you have way too much of any currency, so you don't care about the rarity. But it is cool that
early on,
it now has... Well, it is. But maybe they're changing drop values too for some of these things. Now the better your item is, because they're changing the next one too now, where the quality on armor and weapons is multiplicative. So that's a big change as well. Oh, definitely. So that is way more powerful. Maybe that comes into like a big defensive change that they're planning, because people were talking about what's determination being nerfed in one of the previous teaser videos. Maybe that was just like a dummy skill and they just threw stuff in. Maybe it's not getting nerfed. Maybe that is the way that it is, and that was their way of foreshadowing it. So to have item quality be multiplicative, but then also how you apply item quality to items, if that's all changing, maybe they're changing drop rates to some of these items. And if you change drop rates for some of those, it's it has that effect where it does need to impact more than just those specific items, especially because of how loot just typically drops anyway. Like I'm talking base types, not currency.
I think the rework of the item quality, how it affects it versus now based on item level, I think that's a much better change for early on when you're playing. I think the multiplicative changes everything. That makes it so much better at every stage of the game. I think you're right. I don't see them changing drop rates. I feel like you're still going to get the same, but I feel like you're going to feel like it's a bit better early on to apply. I mean, one of the problems was always you might get a rare item that drops that works well for you, but you're early into the game, so you've only got like, a couple pieces to affect it, and so you're putting 1% on is not really going to be feeling it. Although now that you're changing that to a multiplicative bonus, even that first hit with it is going to actually feel like you're getting something out of it.
Right. So even for your attack based skills and weapons, having a multiplicative value at the beginning actually does give you the opportunity to shoot. I just have a mediocre weapon. I don't feel like I'm doing a lot, but it might be worth throwing on those very common armor scraps or the weapon
whetstones,
the whetstones, because it will give you that bonus that you need until you find that upgrade.
Find the next item, I like that.
But it also it adds it's a way for them to do a PoE 1 thing, but with a PoE 2 mentality where we want your item to be what matters.
Sure.
Not the skill. So sure, maybe your skills have their limitations or their damage types based on the level that they are, but now your item matters more. And that's what they're really aiming for with PoE 2. So this is a really cool way for them to do that. And it brings quality back to a point where it's not just an invisible stat that you want 20 in, but now it's something you're thinking of way more, right?
Well, and if you're
PoE 1 before 325, your quality was either 0 or 20. That's all you cared about. And now there's a reason to care about the progress as well.
And I think too, when you talk about the nerf to determination, which I'm assuming is actually going to be in the game, I don't think they accidentally leaked that. A multiplicative bonus to armor at a high level could be massive. So it'll be fun to see what that looks like when it comes out. Well, I think it would easily make up for, because I think it's just a flat. The determination change was just the amount of flat armor you're getting. And if you're talking now a multiplicative bonus on your armor piece, especially at higher levels, when you get higher, that will easily make up for that determination change.
Imagine getting 2 T2 rolls for your flat and percentage armor on your item, but you have a multiplicative quality.
Is it multiplicative to the stats?
Yeah, like it's still like my assumption is it's still all the same, and so like armor's still a local stat. Right, you get 100% increased armor on your chest piece. That's
right. So you're saying if you roll those two things, and then you get you
get the multiplicative quality on top of that. All of a sudden, like you're taking that like obviously you could get 2 T1 rolls, but I'm trying to be a little realistic. You get 2 T2 rolls on both your flat and your armor. Okay, so we don't know if they're actually changing those values in the game or not. I don't remember if any of the videos said that or not. Well, right. I mean, that would be cool if they didn't change it.
Decrease the other stuff. Like, don't make it so it works out almost to the exact same. You got to feel like you're getting a huge bonus out of that.
Well, even if it does end up being the same numbers, if you're putting the value on your gear, that makes it so much better anyway, because now people don't feel like they have to have the aura. You know what I mean? Now it's all about, okay, sweet. I want that nice life roll. I want that flat armor. I want that percentage armor. And this is definitely worth the 20. I think
your determination would still be super strong. I think the decrease to the flat armor, it just makes it less strong early on. But that percentage based later on is going to be a really big deal.
Are you talking the percentage multiplicative or the percentage from determination?
From determination.
Yes. Oh, definitely. Definitely. So it still might be worth it, but maybe it's turning back into a third. Remember discipline. Right. There was a time when determination wasn't a 50% aura. Right. And same with grace. And then same with discipline. But discipline stayed as a 35%er. I mean, imagine lowering those values so substantially that it was a toss up, a good balanced toss up if they were a 35% value.
We didn't see if determination's percentage changed. Right. We're just assuming it's probably still 50 unless they nerf it and also decrease the percentage.
Well, if we go back to that video, maybe that would be something that people I mean, I have no idea.
Yeah, I don't know either.
If they did make that change, but people noticed the determination value maybe they overlooked the reservation value. I doubt that would have been overlooked for those hawks. Like when we were joking around with Try about the change, Try's like, he's like joking around that he's like us, where he's like, okay, I'm trying to be a sleuth here. I'm noticing things look exactly the same as I've always noticed them. Right. And then of course we completely overlook that determination's values are actually different. So I'm sure people would have noticed if they were, but
well, that's cool. That'll be fun to see.
Yeah, definitely. Next one's epic.
It's so cool.
Yep. One of the most exciting things. It's like turning on auras at the same time, or having boss bars.
They're only Pinnacle and Act bosses so far, but they said they have plans to add it for more, but that's awesome.
Yeah. Great. As long as they go through it better than they did with their tutorial system, or Act 2, Act 3, and their campaign difficulty. As long as it's something they actually work towards. Granted, though, I have to say, Path of Exile 1 has been holding true to its word. Sure, like we're holding mini pretend grudges against GGG for not keeping their word on previous things that they said that they were going to do. But we're going back unintentionally a long ways, right? Including like that Act 1 and 2 change to make the whole campaign more difficult. We're talking a couple years ago now. Like that's a long time ago.
Yeah, that's been given
ever since Mark Roberts, we started being introduced. Who knows how long he's actually been the game director, but as soon as they introduced him as a game director in these videos of Path of Exile 1, it's just been bam,
quality of life.
Bam, this is happening. Bam, this is happening. And so there hasn't been anything to be like, oh, well, ever since Mark took over, they said they were going to do this and they haven't. Maybe they haven't made any promises since he took over. Maybe he's just in the background being like, add, do it. But ever since he's taken over, it's been just a steady uphill climb of positivity.
Yeah, the quality of life things have been awesome.
Right. All of the above. So congratulations to the whole GGG team, because this does look fantastic no matter what the league is like. Static health bars in a game like this, required, must, and thank you.
It just feels good too when you're fighting a boss and you can actually see your progress on it. So I think that's going to be really fun. I am excited to see it on more of the bosses, but just to whatever for now, just to see it on there, I think that's awesome.
Yeah. Next one's quite an interesting one, and I was actually really excited for this for controller support. But funny enough, this is a PC only change to make it equal to controller support. So for all you PC snobs, they're making it as good as controller support. So up all yours. But Settlers of Kalguur quality of life change. They're increasing the keyboard and mouse pickup range.
Yeah.
It looks like triple the pickup range size. If you watch the video, they actually show you a comparison for what the range is currently on the mouse and what it's going to be. It's insane. It's like triple the radius.
If you go back, like, man, I don't even know, within our first like probably 50 episodes, I remember a time where we were talking about my frustration with when loot would drop on a ledge and you'd have to walk all the way around to go and pick it up or have a movement skill. This is a really good change. Like I've always wondered why they made it the way that they did. And it was always this conversation about like weight and loot and blah, blah, blah. This to me is just straight up quality of life. Don't make it a huge hassle for your players. I love it.
Well, one thing that I'm really curious with, and they had to fix this in the console version when it was first released 5-6 years ago, or maybe 7 years ago, I don't know. But the radius was so big that when you were doing things like lab, you could click through a locked fence to get to a lever that you would normally have to go like a minute around of traps to click, but you could click through it because the radius was so big. So they had to come up with whatever solution it was. They didn't change the radius, but they made it so that you couldn't click through things. But they didn't do that with everything. So for example, what's his name? Tasuni in Act 4 with Malachi. He's the guy, like the divination guy. He's one of the 2 people you can turn in the quest to rule the city after. He's sitting far and away, cross-legged near the water over there. On controller support, I can, when I'm at the top and I'm above him before going down the stairs, I can click on him and I can talk to him just from the top of the stairs. But I could never do that with mouse and keyboard. I'd have to go around. So I'm curious if it'll have that same kind of, if they're going to have to, oh shoot, right, yeah, lab's a little too easy right now, they can cheat. I'm curious if I'm
assuming it's just
they remember that from last
item
time.
pickup and not activation of things. I don't know. I guess we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, I don't know. And so I'm curious if you still get that NPC perk that controller support does.
You kind of have to do it just for item pickup, because if you had it like all things, you would make things like lab quite a bit easier, because maybe you can't click through a door, but you certainly don't have to run all the way through the traps to hit a lever, right? If that's being increased as well. And that, as stupid as it sounds, this is really stupid and completely counter to my argument that I like this fix. But when you click a lever, I should have to walk up to the lever to activate a lever. Sure. But if I want to pick up a sword, give me magical powers to just suck it in from far away. I don't want.
I know what you mean. I know what you mean.
Yeah.
I'm curious if Path of Exile 1, the game and its design, actually allows them to differentiate the difference between that.
Yeah, I would assume so, but I guess we'll just have to wait and see. But that is a cool change. Ah, man, my I swear something's cutting in and out, and I think it's my.
No, that's the second time I've heard it. It could be the difference between standard and legacy.
No, I feel like it might be me, but I don't really know. Anyway,
it has been both times when you were talking, but Discord, how sometimes it looks like it's you, but then when it's you, it looks like it's me. So
I don't think it's affecting the recording. But anyway, I am excited for that change. And then there was one more, which I don't even know what this means.
This one's huge. Why don't you watch the video if you don't know what it means? It's 40 seconds or something.
Cool. That's fun. I love Blight, so it's good for me.
Yeah, and the thing that I really like about that is Blight is such a cool part. Like, I don't like tower defense in a game like this. I don't think it suits it. Obviously, Jonathan, who created it, disagrees, and it's guaranteed to be in Path of Exile too, like you said. But from when we talked to him in Seattle, not in LA, but when we went to PAX West or whatever that was. But knowing that it's part of the game and that oils are such an important part of min-maxing your character, getting that extra notable on your amulet that you really want. And of course, anointing your rings, which is only good for one portion of the game, but you can get so much reward for that. It's nice. It's so cool. It's one of the parts where I wish there was more of that in the game. Not the tower defense, but just a currency that lets you focus on a very specific part of the many different ways to play and lets you really maximize the value from that. I love being able to the concept of anointing your rings so that you're better at a specific content. And then of course that free notable, that's not free, I guess, but that notable you get from your amulet to have what was it, the prismatic oil as, which I love that. It's the prismatic term they're very careful with, like with the prismatic ring and all that. It's very elusive and difficult to get, just like the recipe for the prismatic ring, for example. But it's really neat to have a specific oil that you can only get from the content that oils are from, but the exclusive content, not map content, right? But like you have to actually invest in it, right? Mm-hmm. A blighted map or a blight ravaged map. And then that's the only way to get the secret notables that exist in the game.
I don't know how I feel about
if you were to play
notables
for 1,000 hours and never do blight, you wouldn't even know secret notables exist. So I love that extra depth and then depth and then depth and then depth to it. I think it's cool.
I do too. I don't know how I feel about secret notables, because like, is that supposed to be something we're just eventually going to figure out? Yeah, I don't know how I feel about the secret notables, because I just like, are you supposed to just guess and test with throwing them on there? Like, I don't know. For me, what I'll probably do is collect them and just wait till people figure out what they are.
Sure. Yeah, I actually don't remember how they're revealed in game. I know they've improved that a little bit. They've improved the blight design. A few leagues ago, they were talking about how it was displayed when you would hover over with the anoints. It would show you the different notables available to you.
Right, but are these secret notables visible on the tree, or are they literally, you will only see them if you apply prismatic with other combinations of oils on the, you know what I mean? Like,
I don't think you would ever need to see a location of them on the tree.
But you would, what I'm saying is you would need to know the combination of oils to get it. And
I forget how they reveal that to you. And I mean, there's a good chance they're changing that
secret notables. They're probably not revealing it to you.
Not unless you have the combination available to you, right? So, but I don't know. I mean, this is a good opportunity for them to make sure that communication, whether they want it to be difficult to discover or not. This is a good opportunity for them to make it the way that they want to.
I think my thing is when you anoint your neck, you're putting on two oils or 2 to 3 oils, or is it always 3? I can't remember. But if one of them's prismatic and you're talking about like the 15 other oils, that is a lot of combinations to just keep throwing in there to test, to try and get every combination of oil to try and find out what each of the secret notables is. I know people will do it. For me, sure. I love Blight, so I'll probably play Blight again this league, but I will just chill on the prismatics until there's a post online that says like, hey, here's all of the secret notables. Because the fact is, unless the secret notables are crazy, there's so many good notables already on the tree. So it'll be depending on what those are.
My computer can do Blight now.
Yep.
It was a slideshow doing blighted maps before.
Yeah, you'll have fun with it this week.
Juiced up blighted maps. So maybe I should intentionally choose let's see what kind of atlas changes they're making. One thing that they didn't mention here, but it was added, I forget if it was in one of the videos or not. No, I think it was a Reddit reply. No, I don't know. Anyway, this league, they are not having a different atlas passive tree for the league content. They're not adding league content to the atlas passive tree this time.
Okay. I wonder if they're just like yoinking those out, or if that actually means rearranging the atlas passive tree a bit.
Sure. I don't know if there's no need to change the core one that they already had from last league, unless of course they were planning on making changes to this.
Well, but they're obviously brought in all of this new stuff with the scarabs, but I still can't understand why some are on the tree and some aren't. Blight is not on the tree.
Oh, no. I understand that. But what I'm saying to answer your question is last league, they also had a core tree, not one that didn't have the league. So whether they change that core tree for this league or not, I don't know. It would be nice to be able to block more content. I hate Alva. I have zero interest in doing Alva's timed content. I would love to block her. Now that she's not technically a master, she's just extra content. Let me block her. Get out of here, Alva. You stink. Time travelers never shower. They always forget to shower.
Well, that's cool. So that's all we've got so far then from them.
Yeah. Well, unless they did something.
I'm sure something will come out as this comes out. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. But that's where we're at right now. The last one was that past. What did we just say?
What do you mean?
I already closed the link
for Sister Cassia.
Yeah, that's the last one that was released at the time of recording. So
yeah, and I like that they keep that one page with all of them updating. So you can
that is thoughtful for sure. That is thoughtful. It was funny. It received a lot of negative feedback, but I wasn't providing this feedback to GGG or this suggestion for the sake of user feedback. But GGG listens to Reddit, so I post on PoE2 Reddit, Path of Exile 1 Reddit, and then of course
good for you, their
website as well. And it was that I was thinking of a companion app, Justin, for Path of Exile.
That would do what?
Let me bring it up because I don't remember. Let's see. So a companion app. So it would be an app that would be like a one-stop shop. So like instead of needing to be on Twitter to get their news, you would get a notification through the Path of Exile app that they have a new announcement posted to their announcement page. Cool. It would be a place where you could do theory crafting, basically like PoE Planner, but having a GGG version of it doing the same thing, with of course the hope that one day maybe it gets to be integrated into the game or integrated into like your like guide posts. It'd be cool to have that same app give me, I mean, if you don't want the notifications, fine, but to be able to have notifications for if somebody's posted or replied to one of my posts or not, like as a guide creator, that would be extremely helpful. And then of course a mobile friendly way to reply to people so that I don't feel like I have to be on my PC. Obviously, like the website does some of these things, but it would be nice to have a mobile friendly version.
Their website is terrible for mobile.
It is. So, and it would be nice to be able to actually do that messaging mobile free as well. Yeah, I don't know. My son bonked his head and came downstairs crying, so I don't remember where I was. He's a corner cutter. Like, he got in trouble. We came back from swimming lessons today, and he got in trouble because in the summertime, our air conditioner works very, very hard. It's constantly on, and it's extremely expensive to be apathetic with an air conditioner and have the windows open in the house while the air conditioner's working. We don't have that kind of money. And he's a corner cutter. He left his bedroom window open while we were gone for swimming lessons all day. And I'm like, So I murdered him. We're going to have to make another son. And we give him a hard time about which chairs he uses in the kitchen to climb onto other things. We have bar stools that spin.
Yep.
And then we have kitchen chairs that do not spin.
Fell off a spinner.
Yeah, he fell off a spinner. It's so hard as a parent to feel bad for a kid that doesn't listen to you. Anyway,
that's what
he's fine, and I feel bad, and I love him. But anyway, there was there was theory crafting. There was replying to messages and posts in the app. There was announcement notifications, guild things like adding guild slots, knowing how many guild slots I have, promoting members, inviting members. Like it's Murphy's Law that the only time you need to do any of that is when you're not at your computer. It's just how it works. The ability to search guides and view guides from a mobile friendly perspective, now that they are so hands-on with controller support and consoles, like this last playtest, you know what I mean? Like they're just treating all platforms equally. You need something that's mobile friendly, which their website, especially like searching on their forums, it's the worst. It's the absolute worst. So something that maybe is a little bit more like that. So anyway, just like kind of like everything that you would want to do when you're thinking about Path of Exile, when you're not at your computer or console. I kind of tried to throw all those ideas. Like it'd be really cool if there was an app that did that. So
I don't even know that they need an app. They just need a website. A website should be able to do everything you just said. If they had a proper mobile version of their website, that would be awesome. I've actually not checked to see if their PoE2 website is very responsive.
It's linked. Like when I sign into the PoE2 website, I don't have to sign into PoE1. Like it's still linked. When I have a message waiting
I don't care
for
about
me,
that. I'm just curious. Is it like if I go into the Path of Exile website currently on my phone, it is not a responsive website in the sense that it acts as a mobile website. So I'm curious if they're going to go that direction with Path of Exile 2. I would be shocked if they don't. Like absolutely shocked if they don't have a responsive website for PoE2.
It's not good now.
I just haven't looked, so I don't know.
It's not mobile friendly at all.
Well, yeah. Anyway,
I go on it all the time on my phone.
Path of Exile 2.
There's not much to. Yep. Yeah, I have it part of my daily checks to see if they add anything. It's
okay. It is definitely. Yeah, yes, it is. Compared to Path of Exile's normal website, this is at least a responsive website in the sense that they've designed it so that it's different when you're in the mobile version.
Sure. With that, it's still a crappy website though.
What will be interesting, well, I actually don't mind it. Well, I'm curious to see though is how they tie in other things like a forum and build guides and things like that, because that's where Path of Exile, the main website, just is like to go onto a website and see something like that, which people can't see it, but if you go to pathofexile.com on your phone, it's like I can't even use this. It's like having.
I try and use it often.
I can't. So interesting. What else you got? Anything else?
I don't remember why that came up though. There was something about being notified or
well, it was just
something
a suggestion
like that. I forget. But there was a reason that it came up that you mentioned, but because of our interruption with my great listening son, I don't remember.
I don't know if I had anything. I thought you were just bringing it up as a suggestion that you had. And that you had posted
there was a segue. There wasn't a segue. It wasn't just me. Hey, look at me.
I think it might have been.
No.
Tell you what I like about websites.
Oh well. It's 1 o'clock. I'm hungry.
Yeah, let's wrap this up. So we got next week. We got the league announcement, so that'll be fun.
Yeah, our very special,
super special,
totally planned. That's right. We got it.
Yeah, we're just here, guys. We're having a good time, and we've made it to 250, and that's crazy. Well, maybe we haven't yet. We'll see how things go. Let's wrap this up.
We could die.
Forever Exiled episode 245. I'm Justin AK Tags.
And I'm Tyler, Wrecker of Days.
Patrons, we will catch you in After Dark. Everybody else, we'll see you for the epicest of all epicnesses, episode 250 next week. If you're looking for more information, you'll find down below. Website foreverexiled.com or on Twitter, foreverexiled82. We have a very fun Discord. You should get in there and say hello. And Patrons, otherwise support the podcast. You also find them down below as well as on the website. We should probably change the background to the website at some point, eh?
What background?
Yeah, we have that crazy logo still on our website.
I've given up on you. I've given up on you. You do what you want with it. Just
Tyler just doesn't care.
I wish it wasn't.
Yeah, we should change it.
Ugly version.
Let's get a new one. We need something cool though. We can't have just our logo. We need something. We need like an actual banner. I swear to God, it's my headset that's doing that. It's so weird. Yeah, I think it's just me hearing. I don't know if something's going on. Anyway, we do need something. We need a cool banner or background for our website. But anyway, we'll see you next week.
See you later.
For 250.
No,
Bye.
it's not.